Hello, everyone. How's your dumpster fire going? Mine's going awful. Let's play this game. So I'm behind. It's currently, Friday? No. It's Sunday. Oh, boy. So this volume is out. I haven't bought it yet. I will buy it, so don't even worry. I've been warned that it's awful and I should hate it. But let's do this one first. Then I'll have this one. Then tomorrow I'll have the ending of Call of Cthulhu, which I just got done streaming. And then the next day I'll have the next one. I did a stream of this where I had you guys, like, it was a live stream, which was weird for me, a live streamer. I did a stream of this where you guys could kind of just pitch in and say, like, what you would want me to do, or, you know, which paths that I missed out on, and I did a couple of those, and that's in the playlist. It was right at the beginning of the video. It would have been up in the top right. It'll be at the end of the video as well, but if you want to go watch that so you can see all the ones that I missed, it's a good time for it. I'll probably be doing another one of those just because, I don't know. That was a good way of dealing with all of the paths that I missed, and I could ask people, like, which ones should I do? It was good. Anyway, and I don't mind the backseating on that, so it was a nice compromise. But anyway, you walk with purpose. You don't really have a purpose aside from friendship, of course, but these streets, but you know these streets pretty well by this point, so you can at least strut like you've got one. All right, so we got what is the name of that book? Fuck, that was like right when I was too old for that like style of literature. It was a young adult book, and I think it's called like Diary of a Loser Kid or something like that. I think that's what that's referencing, the book she's holding. Or we can go with I'm gonna guess a farmer. Let's go with the farmer first, then we'll have this person to look forward to. No one really like seems to have freaked out about either of these characters, so someone sent me a message on Tumblr, and it was something to the effect of, it's only been out for 2 minutes, but I know you're going to hate this week's Hiveswap, so I'm looking forward to that. Actually, you know what? You think you've had it up to here with friendship. You're really, you're sure that you'll be back on your regular friendship-making bullshit later, but today is just one of those days, a curl up under the blankets with your favorite show kind of day. Leave your phone on silent and say nothing to no one sort of day. I feel that like every day. And honestly, you've watched a friend to almost die of poisoning and gazed upon a juggalo afterlife. You think you might have earned a day or a night, rather a respite like this. So just for today, you turn your back on the new swath of Alternian City you were considering walking through. You head back to ye olde hideout. No exploration now, only bed. You drag yourself onto the scaffolding of your hidey hole more than anything, more than binging media binging. Is that? I think that's supposed to be binging. Would there be an E there? No, because it's like, but there, yes? How do you spell binging? More than binging on media or relaxing amongst peace and quiet, you want to get a nice long nap. You spill yourself into a little pile of bedding and pillows and various other pieces of clothing you manage to throw together and settle in. As soon as your body touches it, you're out like a light. But it isn't long until you're awake again. And not because your body is rousing itself after sufficient slumber, but because of a persistent scrabbling sound. A persistent scrabbling sound that's followed by a loud thunk. I read something recently that apparently if you immediately when you open your eyes in the morning, like, sit on the edge of the bed and then stretch and go, ah! But, like, in a, like, happy way and not in a way like you're trying to die. Apparently, it helps you wake up. And additionally, if you convince yourself that you did get a good night's sleep, that's as good as getting a good night's sleep. So there's that. Typically, that wouldn't be enough to get you up. You're a pretty heavy sleeper, but the noise is accompanied by a nagging sensation that whatever is making that noise is in the room with you, and that has you bolted upright. You must have woken up in the middle of your REM cycle because you feel like a mummy rising out of the crypt. Or is this real life, or is this just fantasy? Okay, that random-ass Queen reference. Your brain struggles to make sense of the surrounding through the fog and residual sleepiness that still settled over you as you stumble to your feet. Eventually, you are able to discern that the noise is coming from behind and above you, around where the ceiling is. What the hell? Is there a raccoon crawling in the vents? Does Alternia even have raccoons? If it does, you're pretty sure you wouldn't want to meet one. But you can't exactly leave it up to your living space either. You get up to investigate. The noise isn't coming from the ceiling like you thought, but from a platform that has been shoved unceremoniously to the very back of the watchtower. There's a large blunt object. Are these just like people's OC trolls? Like, I just realized that. Like, these are these just people's OC trolls and not like, I don't know, written by someone who has any sort of official capacity to make these? Like, this is an officially licensed Homestuck product. So, I guess it's not an OC anymore if it's, like, legit, but, Someone was asking which one of the characters would I like to know more about, or what about Homestuck I would like to know more about. And not to shit on anyone's parade, but my answer is none of them. Like, not because like it's just like I feel like I have enough from this game. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to know more about the characters. Like, I feel like I get a grasp of their personality within the 30 minutes that I'm allowed to interact with them, and that any further like interactions with them would be more of the same for another 30, 40, whatever how long minutes. I don't need that, you know? Like, it's good enough. It's good enough to tell the story that it's meant to tell, and the characters are fleshed out significantly well enough for what they need to. And that's about it, you know? It's not meant for a deep dive. You know, I think we're fine. It's not like the deepest, most intricate telling of a story ever, but, you know, that's that. A giant curved lens that could have only have come from the hole that is now in the side of the platform structure. Maybe that was once an old telescope or camera that the condescents used for surveillance. The scribbling continues. It's coming from within the structure. You're not eager for whatever it is in there to come out and to come jumping out at you as soon as you stick your head inside. But you steel your nerves and hoist yourself up. You find yourself face to face with not some weird animal or bug, but a troll. This is a bona fide friend opportunity. It's practically fallen in your lap, but you find yourself unexpectedly ornery about it. I always read ornery as like aroused, and that's not what they mean by that. Like, it's supposed to be angry, but ornery and horny sound a little too close in my head space region. You like to think that you could expect some privacy in your home, or, well, the place you've adopted as your home in Alternia, but anyway, apparently not. Even when you've decided that you aren't in a friending mood, there the universe goes, yeeting new friends into your path as always. Can't you go a day on this planet without dancing the whole friendship jig? It quickly becomes obvious that this mysterious stranger isn't going to offer you anything more than an igniting magnet gazing into the middle distance. What exactly are they doing in your hideout, you ask? If they were thinking about moving in, they could have at least asked you first. You're the current occupant, after all. I don't want to move in. I already have a hive. I came up here for that. They point past you. You can only assume that they're referring to the giant lens that you've seen on the floor. Well, if they've gotten what they've come for, why are they still hanging out in this platform's innards like this? I'm stuck. And they didn't try calling for help? I didn't notice you. Wherever you came from. Anything else here? Would they perhaps like some help? Can I talk to them? I'm clicking, and it's just the same text box. Like, he's not... Maybe. You hop down from the platform and find your ire draining from you much like a flesh juice from a pimple. It's difficult to say angry upon witnessing what possibly is the most pathetic burglary attempt ever. And that's counting your little fiasco with your ship. After walking around to the other side of the platform, you can see the troll's booted legs sticking out of a gap in the structure. It looks much too narrow for anyone to crawl through, and yet that's exactly what they must have done in order to push the lens out from behind. You yell that you're going to try and pull them out, and you hear a faint muttered, okay, and reach up and grab around the waist, pulling hard. It takes a couple of tries, but with one last particularly hard tug, you find that you're able to pull them free. They tumble down upon you. Thanks. Forgetting me on some. Oh, sorry. And bringing them home. You really didn't do that part on purpose, but you're glad that they appreciate it, yes. They seem pretty content to continue lying on top of you. Actually, they're heavy, so you wriggle out from under them like an earwig from under a rock and clamber to your feet. You nod at the lens. That's what they want, huh? The troll sits up, crossing their legs. So is this written by different people every single chapter? Because this writing style seems very, like, different from the way that all of the other ones have been written. Just saying. The troll sits up, crossing their legs. You can see them more clearly now that they aren't sequestered inside the platform, though their face is obscured by a little by their shaggy hair and floppy, wide-brimmed hat. They look like they're as sleepy as you felt earlier, as sleepy as you're in danger of feeling again. In fact, their voice is slow and regular, almost like a metronome ticking, dunked in molasses. I'm very tired as well. I might go for a second coffee. Third? I'm gonna give myself the benefit of the doubt and just say that it's my third and not my fourth. It's almost threatening to send you right back to bed. Yeah. So. You can have it. You swear you can feel the brain-making juices starting to circulate through your body again with vengeance after a little sabbatical. You're not really sure what came over you before. Turned down the chance to make a new friend? You? Who kidnapped you and replaced you with a total stranger for a few hours there? You tell the troll, of course, they can have the lens. It's not like you're doing anything with it, or like it's even yours to begin with. It was just abandoned here with the rest of this broken down tech. Curiously, you ask what they want it for. Are they building something? Perhaps they're an engineer of some sort. Climbing all the way up here. Just for some building material. That'd be pretty dumb. What do you use it for? Hard. You look at the lens again skeptically. It's a cool lens, you suppose, but it mostly looks like exactly what it is, a hunk of junk. But they want to make art out of this? Their work must be pretty, interesting. They squint at you like they've taken some issue with your comment. Have you managed to offend them? You thought you were being polite enough, given the circumstances. Interesting is usually what people say when they have nothing better to say. You have a problem with making art out of trash. You shake your head rapidly, but the troll is already crossing their arms and shooting you a disapproving look. I think trash can be made into art fairly effectively, but most people who try are not skilled enough at it. And then it just makes a pile of trash. Like, you gotta know what you're cobbling together and how before you really start doing it. That's how you make a good art with trash. I don't think I want to talk to you anymore. Oh no, does that mean that they're going to leave after you've up and decided to try and add them to your ever-growing friend harem too? No, I'm tired. Okay, then they're just gonna kind of glare at you from the floor for a while until they get their strength back enough to leave. You assume this is definitely not awkward at all. I think the word weird is a compliment, but a lot of people take that as an insult, so I don't really want to be like, your art is weird, but I agree. Interesting is usually what you say to someone when, you can't think of anything else to say. Yeah. You two alternate between looking at the lens and looking at each other for a while. Usually over the course of making a new friend, they usually would have asked you to do something by now, or presented you with some sort of choice between two potential courses of action. Is there anything that they'd like to do now that they retrieved their art materials? Guess it's back on you then. They probably want to take the lens back to the hive, right? would, but I'm tired. I'm hungry. Fortune garbage takes a lot of energy. I used last week climbing up here, so I don't think I'll be able to carry myself. They really didn't think this whole junk heist thing through very well, did they? But it would. You look at that, it's an excellent time to make a suggestion. You do that? Just make sure you're careful with it. Of course. You'll treat it all with the delicacy of an egg in an egg and spoon race. I don't know what that is. Carrying it through the watchtower's entrance is easy enough. Maneuvering it down the cliff face is a little bit more complicated. You manage by holding it between you as you navigate it from foothold to foothold. How the fuck did they get up there in the first place? I guess it climbed up there. When you reach the bottom, the troll looks like they're ready to sit down right there in the brush, but urges them to move on. Resting in their hive will probably be much more comfortable. That's the wrong way. Sheepishly, you whirl around from the random direction you're about to stride towards, following them instead. With them leading the way and you bringing up the rear, the two of you shamble along the path with all the ease and grace of two people in a horse costume. But you make it to your new companion's hive much quicker than you would have expected. They come for a stop in front of the entrance to the cave in another cliffside. If this is their place, it isn't very far from yours at all. You're surprised how you haven't run into them until now. They're practically your neighbor. I've seen you around before. Pretty hard to miss. Really? You should have said hi, introducing themselves. The two of you could be hanging out this whole time. I don't feel like it. He sounds busy. I mean, I feel this, dude. I'm tired. I don't want to hang out with people. I just want to do art. Play video games. Warhammer. Yeah. With more of the scavenging and art business, you guess, well, getting to know each other now, which is what's important. Speaking of, you've been talking and walking along, you haven't even exchanged names yet. How remiss of you. Usually you would have gotten introductions out of the way from the moment they broke into your hideout, but it's been kind of an odd sort of night. That's okay. I'm Charun. Come on, let's get inside. They pull the lens forward. They didn't ask your name in return, but you managed, you're bumbling, introduce yourself as you lurch along into their hive. It's some interesting shit you got here, man. I like that. That's weird. That's a toilet. And do trolls pee? What the fuck is that? At home on Earth, you gotta think about garages. You thought it was kind of interesting to scope out the sort of stuff people would end up accumulating. I think it's a painting. No, because the hair goes outside the frame of whatever that is. That's a human being. Or a troll. Whatever. Close enough. You seem some real gems in your day, collecting a collection of singing and dancing novelty plant figures, and a small army of Furbies without fur, a beat-up remains of some kind of cat mascot costume. There was one, what was it? There's a guy, he's modding his Furby to be an Alexa, and it moves and, like, sings and dances like they should, but it's weird. Not a fan. There's another guy who made an organ out of Furbies. Both of which are worth, like, YouTubing after this video. But anyway, inside Charun's hive is as if every single weird garage you've ever seen converged to exist simultaneously in the same cave. The platonic ideal of garages. It's hard for you to believe that someone lives here. If you come closer, though, you begin to notice homely efforts tucked among the metal junkyard scraps and broken furniture piled along the floors all the way up to the craggy cave walls. The Raccoon sits on the ledge in the wall, and you think that the kitchen cabinet wedged into another. So what do you think? It's pretty cozy, you say, giving them a double thumbs up. The stalactites are a nice touch. I mean about my art. Oh, the art, of course. You cast around desperately. Charun's hive is such a jumble of miscellaneously that it's impossible for you to figure out which is art materials and which is finished artworks and which are Charun's actual belongings. It's a pretty gnarly skull over there with the leaves and the eye sockets. The angle at which the umbrella sticks out of the lawn chair is really compelling. You settle on a purple object in the corner that looks like a traditional sculpture and a bunch of household items stuck together. Those curves, the amaranthine hue, truly inspiring piece. It's like gonna be his toaster or something. Charun looks at you strangely. Keep keep getting phone calls. I need to just like put my phone to the side. It's the load gaper. You don't know much about, are you? Busted. No, you really don't. Rimley tried to taught you the importance of giving the people what they want, and Amnesia taught you the importance of putting down a tarp before lopping out the head of a head or so. Blood, paint doesn't get all over the floor, but you haven't really learned much about actually creating art from them. As you gaze around the cave again, you find that you really want to understand. Clearly, this is something that's important to Charun. Otherwise, why would they spend a majority of their time on it? You too wish to experience the marvels of the creative process. I'm getting a Coke after this one. If only there was some way for you to learn. If you want to do that badly, you could make something out of what I've collected. Really? Well, that must have worked so hard to find all of it. But they must have worked so hard to find all this. Is it really fine for you to just dick around with it? You're surprised to see that Charun looks pleased at what you're saying. Maybe it's the most expressive that you've seen him since you've met. Art is just dicking around. I mean, that's one thought process on it. You know, obviously I have my art YouTube channel and Patreon, RevScarecrow Arcade, and patreon.com/RevScarecrow. So if you want to hear about my opinions of art, subtle shilling, you can go there and do that and listen to me talk about things. I put out a video yesterday, as you're hearing this, on how to get noticed online. Yeah. I don't know if I agree with the just do whatever the fuck sort of process of art. I like to have like a plan. But when I'm talking about a plan, I'm talking about like I just sort of do shit, right? I just sort of do a thing, and like I've got a general idea of what I'm doing most of the time, and then either it works out or it doesn't. And the bits of it that I didn't really account for or I didn't really think of, I fix those and kind of work with it on the fly. But I don't like do the thing where I do the Jackson Pollock, just throw paint at the canvas and then, oh, well, there you go. Now I've got something beautiful. It's like, no, I'm going to figure that shit out. I'm going to make sure I've got, like, something on lockdown. I know what I'm doing before I actually, like, start it, generally. But just dicking about isn't really how I roll when it comes to art. Anyway, if you make something sucky, they shrug their shoulders and take it apart again and reuse its separate components to make something else. Your smile flags a little. Oh, that was a good one. Where do you want to start? You rub your chin thoughtfully, wandering over to the lawn chair with the umbrella in it and the pile of fabric is stacked on top. You rifle through it until you find some colors you like. You walk across to the other side of Charun's hive, searching for items you might be able to use. Charun doesn't offer much in terms of guidance, aside from cautioning you away from a couple of objects that are already finished works of art. Whoops. You end up with an armful of knickknacks that you put down and now in front of what is now a lamppost, but will soon be your canvas of choice. Then you get to work. The fabric you twirl around the post and tie to smaller objects, a snow globe, an old boot, a fancy Santa, onto it with a string. On top you perch a rubber Walmart goose that makes a majestic honking noise when pressed. Your art that kind of, I keep looking at that. That kind of looks like the face that the guy makes in, what is it, Beetlejuice. Like he's trying to like scare some people, so he stretches his face all weird. It kind of looks like that, sort of. As your art piece comes together under your hands, I read that right the first time. You take a few steps back every now and then to appraise it from further away, making adjustments whenever you find something that you're not happy with. Finally, it's complete. You turn to ask Charun's opinion, newly flushed with pride and adrenaline from having successfully made a thing. They don't look very impressed. Your face falls. What's wrong? Did you use too much orange? Were there scattered lustrous teeth a little too much out there? Listen, you're overthinking this. Just do what feels right. You frown. Don't think at all, then? Just let your instincts drive you? Thinking a little is probably a good idea, too. Don't overthink it, but don't imagine or abandon your rational thought altogether. Let your feelings guide you, but not completely. Pretty vague, but sure, giving it a shot. I mean, sort of. You strip the lamppost back down, and this time you don't spend too long regarding all of its nude metal glory. You begin working immediately, whipping around Charon's hive in a flurry of cave dust and determination, grabbing things as soon as you lay eyes on them. Charon looks more and more fascinated the longer you're at it. It's not long until their eyes are positively gleaming. Soon they take a step forward after a tentative step towards you, as if drawn to you by sheer force of your artistic energies. They look like they might actually want to join in, actually. Is that okay? See what I think you're going for, I think. Your vibes got me all inspired. Of course, the more the merrier. You'd love to see what the two of you could create together. I'm not about that. I don't like cooperative art. With a barely there smile, Charon plants a traffic cone at the base of the lamppost with a great aplomb, and then you're off. It's all a blur after that, the two of you moving in unison like you're co-piloting a Jaeger, except for instead of a giant robot, you're steering a feverish, creatively propelled fugue state. Fugue, I think. Wow, I think we're almost done. You step back from your newly created, or newly forged pile of brick and brack, mopping up the sweat from your brow. They're right. You're almost finished. Almost. All you need is the finishing touch. The piece of resistance. You think you just know the right thing. With great conviction, you pick up a box from the floor, tearing it open so its components fall over your sculpture. Oh no. My polytrophic slats. You freeze. Were those cooking ingredients? You seem to have gotten carried away. You start apologizing, but Charon is already waving your words away. It's fine. It looks better like this. Too good to waste this food. Anyway, I can find other things to eat. You both regard your creation, heaving for breath. You're done. As exhausted as you are, a wonderful calm settles over you as you admire the results of your hard work. Beautiful. You really is. You don't know how because you don't think you're actually done anything different compared to your first try. Maybe you just got lucky. But regardless of exactly how you came to it, this is one of the most bizarrely sublime things you've ever laid your eyes on in your life. And the longer you stare at it, the more layers of depth reveal themselves to you, like a petal of a newly bloomed flower opening to the sunlight of spring. Abrupt, irresistibly, you find yourself gripped in the throes of profound new knowledge. Charon's artworks are pointless and weird, but perhaps that's what gives them their charm. In such uncertain and violent world, the troll calls troll, and you may be trapped in an endless Sisyphean journey across the planet in search of new friends. For a brief moment, you can have this. You stand here, awash and appreciate of what the fuck at this masterpiece you've created out of a bunch of other people's trash, marveling at how you've birthed something greater than yourself. Sometimes trash can be beautiful. That's my new tagline for this channel. You think you understand now. This is what Charon must have been endeavoring to teach you. You beam at them, glowing with joy at your discovery. Yeah, sure. If you say so. Joyride. Can we look at whatever it is I made? I want to see the trash pile. Well, I guess not, but I guess that's it for us today. I'm gonna give this dude an upload tonight, and you guys will have it tomorrow. Hopefully you liked it. Tell me all of the words that I mispronounced. That's like several comments there. More importantly, if you're interested in seeing another stream of me doing all the bits that I screwed up or didn't screw up, whichever is more enjoyable, let me know, and then I'll go back and do those. So just let me know what's up, okay? Anyway, I think that's going to be it for me for now. I will see you guys tomorrow with the ending of Call of Cthulhu, and then the day after with Friend Sim. So if you want more of this, just come back in 2 days. But if you want more of me, I'm here every fucking day. So I'll see you then. 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. On pretty much every channel. It's 1 p.m. Central Standard Time every day on this channel. 1 p.m. Central Standard Time on Saturdays for my highlights channel. And 1 p.m. Central Standard Time every other Sunday for my art channel. Because if I did it every week, I would never be able to finish a piece of art. And I would just sort of have panic attacks all the fucking time. That wouldn't be good. So instead, I just do it every other week. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you guys around. Bye.